Hey, it's Don the Auction Professor. Today I'm going to give you another item that I look for all the time, a really good bolo. It's wooden blocks of various types. Vintage, new or old, it doesn't really matter. Wooden blocks in general do sell for us. Let's hop over to the screen right now and show you what we're talking about. So here we are with wooden blocks. Now there's many different types of wooden blocks. There's puzzles and buildings and things like that. This is a letter block set, a ABC number set, which is the most common and most popular one that are collected. Not only that, this is with Santa Claus, a Christmas set by the McLaughlin brothers. They made all kinds of things, toys, books, all kinds of things geared towards kids. They were sold across the country in department stores for many, many years. This is probably one of the best block sets I have seen because of the box, the Santa Claus and the whole works. $921 with 20 bids on it. Really nice, fine example here. Now here's another one, a nesting block set. Now this has fables on it. Each block would have a different character or story on them, and at the end of the day they would all stack up into one single block, and you could flip them over and stack them up into the story and then read the story. $500 basically on this one here. Many people just might not think they're worth that kind of money, so they're not all worth a fortune, but they do sell very well and very quickly for the most part, all of these wooden toys. Now here's another interesting set by Milton Bradley. Milton Bradley, the main toy company you still see today, existed back in the 1870s and 80s. They did all kinds of different things. Wood toys were a specialty of theirs for quite some time. This is a rounded set of blocks with the original box. The box has tape and other issues. It still went for $255. Any of these boxed ones do go for some decent money. I look for these everywhere I go. It's another thing that I'm always able to score out on. Most people don't pay much attention. Many people won't even pick up something like this. This isn't very big and it just doesn't cry out it's some specialty toy item. Now this one here is by Reed. Reed was a known company. They made all kinds of wooden toys, train sets and things like that, all made of wood with paper lithographed labels or burned in designs. Now this forms a cathedral. This is a toy they put together and it has the spirals. Every part, the roof is there as you see, the sidewalls. The whole thing is here. Really interesting item, $225. There's a whole line of these building blocks that make buildings, just like some of the piggy banks that are building shaped. It was a big thing back then. Now here's another one by Milton Bradley, circa 1900. This is in a dovetail box, which most of the wooden ones and wooden boxes of the day were dovetailed, very finely detailed and made boxes. All that's in it is another set of wood blocks. The lid slides across. It has a groove in there for it as well. Very finely done. Many people will miss these without a label on it, but they're still good even without a label. $190 on this one here. Now here's another interesting one. This is a new set. These are tegus. They're magnetic blocks of wood. Now I don't know if they're embedded in there or what the construction method is on these, but they are magnetic. I have seen them, had them before. They always sell. You can get these new or used. They just show up in a big bag of wooden blocks on a wall at a store or at a garage sale, flea market, wherever you go. Most people miss that these carry some value because they just look like blocks. Some of them are very colorful like this. They come in a box and each one has many different racks of them, cardboard racks that these store in. So rather interesting, unique lot here. $300. This person sold two at $300. Wouldn't doubt that they'll sell several more as well at that price. Now here's another interesting one. This isn't new, but it's not super old. This is from the 80s and 90s. Wolf Creek made some of these folk art style ones. If I'm not mistaken, they were hand stenciled. This kind of reminds me of Pennsylvania Dutch, the German immigrants from over here. So really interesting item here, $119. Pennsylvania Dutch aren't really Dutch, they're German. But when they said what their language was or where they came from, they said Deutsch, and people thought that was Dutch. That's why Pennsylvania Dutch is called Pennsylvania Dutch. But this is just an example of what you would find in that era. Now these are also marked. Usually they're embedded or burned into the wood with Wolf Creek also. Not every block is usually marked, at least the ones that I have seen. I love to get them in the boxes, but even without a box, these still sell for some good money. $60-$70 easily on just a set of the blocks. Now here's another one of the nesting blocks. Same basic construction. This is by J.A. Crandall, another company that made them. Not as popular as Milton Bradley, but this is the story of Cock Robin. fable, fairy tale, goes way back in the 1860s, 70s. It was mentioned all the way up into the 30s and 40s. The Three Stooges even talked about that, the same basic fable or story. Well collected. It's just not something that's really sought after today, this specific company or story. So this is one of the more common ones that were made. Basically $100. Still a decent price for something you might get for 20 or 30 bucks. Now, when you find them, as I said, they're just going to be a big stack of boxes like this. They're going to look terrible usually. Usually they'll be upside down like this. 20, 25 bucks is usually what I throw out on something like this. It's usually an easy and a quick flip for me on these items right here. Now here's another interesting set. The more unique, the more interesting the set is, the better they sell for. Not complete. There's only 18 blocks here. Now this one has the letters carved out into the wood. Most of the other ones have it raised off the block itself. The ones that have the letters on it are also a different color so that the paper lithoed animals and other lettering on it look totally different from this. It's easily distinguished the main lettering of this set. $105. Just a really nice one here. I don't care if they're complete sets or not. I will take them up either way. I will just throw them together at a big lot at the end of the day. Even if they're newer ones, I can still bulk these all up and still get 50, 60, 70 bucks just for a couple dollars worth of blocks on many occasions. Now, as I said, they used to make puzzles out of them. So if you buy a set of puzzles, dozen of these blocks, there's actually 6 puzzles because each side of the blocks makes a different puzzle. And you can see that here as we flip through these here. 6 different puzzles for the price of one. This one is still in the original box. Went for 75 bucks. Most of this sort of thing doesn't have a maker's mark on them, a name who made them. I run into these fairly often, at least the ones that aren't marked. They made them like this all the way up to the 1920s and 30s, believe it or not. So they still almost always sell for at least some decent money. 75 bucks isn't bad for what I see here. Now here's another to-go set here. Now this is a colorful one, loose, used, still went for 75 bucks. And this is only 52 blocks. The other set we showed you was 130. They don't all look like these fanciful colors. Now, here's another one by To-Go as well. This one's just a wood-colored one. They just look like normal blocks. Now, usually what I see is these are just in a bag or something at a sale or on a table, and most people just walk by them thinking they're just wood blocks, not worth anything. If you realize they're magnetic, any of the magnetic ones that I've ever had sold for some good money. 65 bucks basically on this one. Just common, everyday wooden blocks to most people. But they sell very, very well. To-Go is the only company I know that makes these magnetic ones. And it's not even a complete set. They're missing a few to this set here. Now here's an Uncle Goose set of the presidents of the United States. Each numbered block has the specific president that's tied to that. Number 1 obviously is George Washington. It says his name, when he was president, and the whole works on each block. Now this set can be listed as a toy or even in the political section also. It will still sell just as easily in either one of those categories. 80 bucks this one went for. Average, say $60 to $100 on any of these, depending on the condition, whether it's sealed or not also. So nice example here. Now this next one is something many people miss and don't realize that it's a true Lego item. Now everybody knows Lego today as little plastic blocks with the minifigures, but they used to make wooden toys back in the 30s and 40s in Denmark. Same company, same everything, same name you'd see on the modern day Legos, Lego blocks. Now this is probably from the mid to late 40s. Individual blocks like this go for 10 or 15 bucks for us any day of the week. I always buy the ones that are marked Lego. It's not super scarce. There was a ton of these imported over here just because they were cheaper to make than the ones over here in many cases. They were well made, hardwood, the whole works. Perfect example of what you would want to look for. Legos, not your ordinary average day Legos. Now here's a Holgate company item here. Holgate made a lot of wooden items. Most of the ones I see are in little carts like this. Now this is a pull toy as well. There's wheels on the wooden box. Some of the wooden boxes were made to look like items and you could build off with the blocks that came inside of it. Though still to this day they make versions of this basic same toy also. This one went for $67.99. Not a super thing here, but I usually can get these for 5 or 10 bucks at a sale. Most people think they look dark and dingy. The box is worn. There's no lid is what they think, and they just don't carry much value to most people. I still do very well with this sort of thing here. And let's look at the last one here. This is just a random mix of blocks. It's 29 different blocks, $50 basically. Now this one has a corrugated design that helps the blocks lock in together for little ones to play with. These are unique in that fact. Most of the ones I see are just flat, flush blocks. So anything different or unique, or that have animals pretty much carved into them or pressed into the wood, usually go for some more money than the just standard blocks of the day. So this is really a good area to mess with. Most people don't mess with these single blocks, and you usually can get them for just a couple dollars. I always sell the wooden blocks. If I list a set of wooden blocks, they're usually gone within a week or two or less. Sometimes they're gone the first day I list them, but they always sell for us. If they're newer ones, as I said, you may have to bulk them together in a big lot, but we always sell these. There are collectors that don't collect anything else other than ABC blocks, and there's hundreds of different sets to collect as well. But that's what I have for you today. Well, there you are. Hopefully that gave you some ideas and some thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button down below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified if I post new content or go live. Subscribe and tell a friend.